Hello my friends, today I'm going to be helping you with your rotations homework, also known as turns. This one can be the most tricky, but it does help sometimes if you can use a couple of the tricks I'm about to show you today to help you with your homework. So when we're talking about turns, we want to make sure that the 2D shape that we're turning doesn't change its size or its shape. Its shape should stay the same, but instead it's going to turn. So if I turn right now, I'm still me, but instead of seeing the front of me, you're seeing the side of me. And so we're going to not quite get that fancy because we're not in 3D shapes, but it's the same kind of concept with 3D shapes or 2D shapes. So instead of being stammering, let's just get to the point. So here we go. Let's start with the flag because I think this is kind of the easiest idea to see. Is here is my flag, okay? And we're going to practice doing some turns on my flag. And so when we're doing turns, we can turn two ways. We can go clockwise, okay, which is a very fancy way of saying that we're going to turn to the right, kind of like an analog clock, okay? Or we can do what they call counterclockwise, which is a fancy way of saying that we're going to turn to the left, so it goes in the backwards way of a clock, and hence the counter. And we could talk about rotations or turns in terms of degrees or in terms of fractions. To keep it simple, because we haven't done angles yet, we'll just do quarter turns. So we can do a quarter turn, a half turn, a 3/4 turn, or a full turn. Okay? And if we look at a circle, we break it up into quarters. If we're doing a quarter turn, we would only want to go from here to here. That's a quarter turn. If we wanted to do a half turn, we would go from here all the way around to here. And if we did a 3/4 turn, we would want to go from here all the way around. And so it goes a lot bigger. So some strategies that I have found helpful in the past with learning turns and teaching kids turns is to kind of put this on like a make it into 4 quadrants or draw those 2 lines. So if we're going to a quarter turn, this would be a quarter turn, this would be a half turn, this would be a 3/4 turn. And so what we want to do is, this is 0, this is where it's starting, the original, is if we are asked to turn this, let's say a quarter turn first, our flag is going to go from touching the 0 line to touching the quarter line. And so all we need to know is, okay, we're going to draw our flag over here, and we're going to make sure it's the same height. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares tall. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares tall. And then we're going to, I'll do the quarter turn in, let's say red. Okay, so there's our quarter turn, and I'm going to draw our flag here. Pretty much what you should be able to do, and I'll see if I can get this properly in a picture, is here's my flag, and if I turn my paper a quarter of a turn, oh look, it's the exact same flag. Okay, so there it is, a quarter turn. We've gone from the 0 line to a quarter turn, and all we've done is redraw that flag on the quarter turn. Let's try this again with a half turn. So now if we see here, our flag was here at the beginning. Oops. We want to go and do that full turn, which means ours is going to be down here, as we've also said that our half turn is down here. So when we're turning your paper, there's our quarter turn. There's our half turn. So now we want to draw the exact same flag, but now we're going to put it on this line, okay? And it's still going to be pointing the same direction. If we look up here, our flag's pointing to the right. And when I turn it this way, our flag should be pointing to the right. So what I'm going to do is, again, go back and count. And it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares tall. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares tall. And again, we just talked about it. We want that little flag pointing to the right. Okay, so there it goes. Half a turn. We've turned it from top to bottom. Our top of our page became the bottom of our page. So here we go. So there's our original flag. There it is if we turn a quarter. There it is if we turn a half. And then we're going to complete the last one, which is a 3/4 turn. So again, we're going to make sure it's the same height, and it's still, the flag is going to be pointing to the right. And if we go back here to the original guy, this green line, we can see that now we're going to have our flag on this one. Okay, because there's our 3/4 turn. So I'll color our flag in green for this one so we can see it. So we can either draw, we know by now it's a 5 square tall, so let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and just know we're going to draw our flag up here, or we can turn our paper. There's a 1/4, and there's a 1/2, here's the 3/4. Sorry guys, that's from the previous video. And we're going to turn it so that the flag is still pointing to the right, and there's our 3/4 turn. Okay. The cool thing is if we do a full turn, we just come right back to where we started. Okay. Because here we go. 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, full turn. We would just be drawing that flag right where it started. Okay, so turning the paper is a really good trick. So if you can do your work on a piece of paper and print it off, that would probably come in handy for a lot of our friends. Another trick that we can use is we can create a shape that we can move. So if I wanted to practice some rotations of a triangle, I could have my triangle to move here. So give me a second, we'll get this traced out, and I'll show you all the 1/4 turns. We'll keep going clockwise to kind of keep it simple, but if you had it counterclockwise or turning to the left, you'd repeat the process. You would just turn your paper in the opposite direction. So I'm going to get our triangle to go this way for just a second, just so we can point in the different direction because our flag pointed to the right. So here we go. Okay. So there's our original one. I'm going to color this guy in yellow. So there's our original guy. Okay. And again, I'm going to create that 4 quadrants because it really comes in handy, and I'm going to draw it down the back of that triangle. Really comes in handy in making those turns a little bit easier. Okay, and I've also should have made it draw so it matches there. Oh, sorry guys, the triangle should go a little bit like this. My apologies. Oopsie doodle. Okay, so now I can show you how to do it if you like doing a hands-on way. So again, if we go back and it's starting here at the top, this is our 0, this is our 1/4 turn, our 1/2 turn, and our 3/4 turn. Okay, so now instead of turning my paper, I'm going to turn my shape. So you can either use a finger or a pencil or something. So I'm going to use this pencil, and I'm going to hold it down at the corner, and I'm going to turn it until the back of my triangle is touching that corner line. So I'm going to do it like this. Turn, 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 turn. And there's my triangle. I've turned it a 1/4 turn, and I can always undo it. Oh, it's not cooperating. So if we start here, here's our triangle. I'm going to turn it a 1/4 turn so that the back of my triangle is touching right here. And now all I have to do is trace my triangle like so. And there it is. Sorry, it's a little messy. There's my 1/4 turn, and I think on our previous one I did our first 1/4 turn as red, so why don't we keep the traditional line. So there is a 1/4 turn. Okay, if you weren't asked to do a 1/4 turn, you were asked to do a 1/2 turn, you could do the same thing. So here it is lined up. There it is 1/4, and there it is 1/2, making sure that that back of that triangle is touching that line. Get out my pen. I'm going to trace again. Okay, and on my other one, oh, my 1/2 turn was blue, so let's keep with tradition. There's my 1/2 turn. Okay, so again, if we want to see this and we want to turn our paper, if I turn this a 1/2 turn, there's my 1/4 turn. The triangle still looks the same, just different color. Turn it 1/2 color, triangle still looks the same. And that's the goal, is that the triangle is the same, the position is just a little bit different because we've turned it. So now we'll do the last one, which is the 3/4, so we'll do this one in green. So here we go again. We can grab that shape right like this, hold it in the corner, do 1/4, 1/2, and then lastly 3/4 right there. And I'm going to just make sure it's lined up nicely, trace it in. Yeah, close enough. There we go, and there's our 3/4 turn here. So there's a different strategy. You can try turning your paper, or you can try turning your shape. Okay, really taking that time to turn the resources that you're using with you definitely helps you with those turns. So there shows you these are all clockwise. If you want to do counterclockwise, you would just have to flip these two. This will become your 1/4 turn. This would become your 3/4 turn because now you're going to the left like this instead of to your right like this. So hopefully you find this helpful with doing your homework this week. Some 2 great strategies to help you with turning or rotating a 2D sheet.